24 minutes after the hour now, the U.S. and Iran trading fire once again. CENTCOM releasing this statement, quote, U.S. forces successfully defeated multiple Iranian ballistic missiles and drones and conducted self-defense strikes on Qasem Island in response to attempted attacks by Iran across the Middle East. Meanwhile, lawmakers are expected to vote today on the latest Iran war powers resolution with a strong chance the measure passes. It comes as Secretary of State Marco Rubio returns to Capitol Hill after testifying before the Senate and House that Iran's supreme leader is engaged in ongoing talks with the U.S. Listen.
Talks with Iran are not like talks with Switzerland, okay? They're very different. They have agreed to negotiate aspects of their nuclear program that just a month ago, or just a year ago, they were refusing to even mention, much less enter into discussions about. That is not a guarantee that ultimately it will lead to a deal. I think there are indications out there that he is increasingly engaging at some level, although all of his communications have been in writing and through intermediaries.
Joining me now is a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Bill Huizenga. Congressman, welcome back to the show. You're going to hear testimony from Marco Rubio in a matter of hours. Does Rubio's optimism that you heard in that soundbite we just played get certain Republicans to back off efforts to curb President Trump's war powers?
Well, we know that Marco Rubio is very serious-minded. He's very experienced. He knows what he's doing, knows what he's talking about, and he has the confidence and the ear of the president. So when Marco is out there, I should say Secretary Rubio is out there speaking on behalf of this administration, it's with forcefulness. And I think there is the part of the problem is for lack of a better term, he's negotiating with a civilian government, which, though, it may or may not actually be in control of those missiles and drones and all those other things, because it's the IRGC and the mullahs that really seem to be pulling the strings when it comes to whether a strike happens or whether the ceasefire is actually being adhered to or not.
Are you voting for the War Powers Resolution Act?
I do not plan to vote on this because, look, this is once again the Democrats playing political games with a very serious issue. They have no intention of actually coming to a solution or a way forward on this. They're just trying to play politics with it.
But what's your message to those Republicans who are indicating in recent days that they might vote for this and allow it to pass?
Yeah, look, I understand we have a very serious issue here. None of us want to be trapped in a forever war. But we have to make sure that as we are looking at this, the president has the ability to maneuver and negotiate the way that he needs to be able to, and by extension, Secretary Rubio as well. And I just don't think voting for a Democrat War Powers Act that really is politically based, not fact-based, not policy-based, just isn't the right direction to go. So we know that we have had a negotiated ceasefire, and it's Iran, or at least the IRGC, that is choosing to violate that ceasefire. And frankly, again, that's due probably more to internal politics in Iran than it is anything else.
And this vote will certainly be one to watch. Another vote to watch. You are introducing a landmark bill called the Deport the Terrorists Act. Seems logical, doesn't it? Which would require the revocation of citizenship and deportation proceedings for naturalized U.S. citizens convicted of terrorism-related offenses. Congressman, I don't have to remind you, there's no time like the present to pass something like this because Republicans control the Senate, House, and the White House. Will you be able to get this passed into law before the midterms, before Democrats possibly take the House and or Senate?
We're going to be doing everything we possibly can to do that, because as you said in the setup, I cannot think of anything that is more logical. If you are coming to this country, you're not born here, you're not a natural-born citizen, you're choosing to come here, and by the way, you swear an oath that you are giving up any allegiance to any other government, prince, potentate. There's all kinds of words in there that you have to agree to that says, you know what, my loyalties are now with the United States. And if you are not just charged but convicted of terrorism, why in the world would we allow you to retain the right, that privilege of that you have just been given to become a U.S. citizen? Why would we allow you to continue to do that? So this makes a whole lot of sense to me. I hope it will make sense to other people, and I hope that we can make that loud and clear to other House members in the Senate as well.
Yeah, because, Congressman, there are a lot of non-terrorists who would love the privilege of being in the United States. Maybe we prioritize those people as opposed to people who, want to kill us and blow up our nation. Congressman Bill Huizenga, thank you, sir. Always a pleasure to have you on.
Be sure to like and subscribe for all the Fox News latest on YouTube and catch full shows streaming now on Fox One.